There are quite a few detailing annotations within drawings. I'll go ahead and start with this center mark. Generally by default there are center marks on all of the holes that you bring in. That's the standard document property setting, and that's in detailing. But if you have holes that you want to add center marks to, you can choose the center mark tool and choose out holes. You also have the option of using auto insert and clicking on a view. And you can also do the same for fillets as well as slots. So if I clicked on this view, it would add all of those in. And I went ahead and canceled the change so that we didn't have all of those marks cluttering this up. But for example, if I wanted to add this to the slot, I can do that. And you can also modify all the leaders on the center marks. Next is the centerline tool. This allows you to select out two edges, and that'll automatically create a center line, which you can also update. And you also have the option of auto inserting the center line just by selecting the view. And it'll find all of the holes that it needs to add lines to. I'll go ahead and delete these out. And I'll just delete out the top two as well. The next tool we'll look at is the area hatch fill. If there's a specific area that you want to add a hatch to that's not in a section view or hasn't already been added, you can simply click on the area and add a hatch, or you can get a solid fill. And when you want to remove this out, you can simply come back in and choose none. You can also change the frequency. And I'll go ahead and click OK. The area hatch fill is also a useful tool if you're trying to show, for example, a fill point. So if I was trying to fill up something with liquid up to a certain point, I could draw a line breaking up that area and choose the area hatch fill in this area, and it's going to fill up to that line. The next tool we'll look at is the surface finish. And this allows you to select out quite a few different surface finish options from the standards. I can choose machining required, for example, maybe add some notes in. And to modify it, you can just go ahead and click on it, and it brings you back into the Surface Finish Property Manager. The next tool is the weld symbol. And I can use this to designate a weld at an edge. For example, if these two areas were welded together, I can go ahead and select out this edge. And then I can also modify the way that this is displayed. Maybe this is going to require a V-groove. You can add in any annotations to that as well. And maybe this is finished machined, so I'll add that to the top. And I'll leave that as a flat contour. And then I can go ahead and click OK. In the Insert menu, if I go into Annotations, I have two other tools. I also have a caterpillar. So if I want to show that the weld's along a certain edge, I can click that edge out. Or if this edge, for example, was welded, I could put in that caterpillar. You can modify the size. I can set this as a partial length if I want. And display this in several different ways. And in terms of welds, there's also an end treatment. If I choose two edges, I could designate that I need a corner treatment. Underneath the weld symbol is the hole callout. If I select out any hole, it'll give you the full callout. You can also manually change the callout within the dimension text, and it has all the symbols you'd need to make those changes. You could also add a dual dimension. And the last three tools all have to do with geometric tolerancing, the geometric tolerance, datum feature, and datum target. So I can go ahead and add in a couple datums, maybe one to the bottom and one here to the side or this side. I can add in a dimension. And maybe change the tolerance type. And then I'll go ahead and add a geometric tolerance to it. Clicking on the dimension. And I can add in any of the symbols that I need to add, as well as my tolerance. And then you can add in your datums as well. Lastly, there's also the option of adding a datum target. If I want to add it somewhere on this part. And then I can add a size, for example, and then a designation and a number. But those are all of the main detailing annotations that don't include dimensions, and that's how you use them.